Hey, it's Ari here. Hope you're doing well. In this video, I want to talk about the concept of simplifying your life and reducing stress. So, by the way, if you hear anything in the background, it's currently thundering right now, and there's like the siren going off in my area. But I just woke up and I'm like, I don't want to miss a day of uploading. So I didn't have videos scheduled, and I'm just gonna record this and then just post it. I just thought of the topic, and I'm gonna stick to my daily habit of posting every single day. So that being said, let's talk about simplifying your life and reducing stress. So the average person right now in the United States is always stressed out at work. They're working 40 hours a week, and that's barely enough to, live comfortably on your own. Most people on top of that are working an extra, 10 hours every week or 20 hours on top of that just to barely make ends meet. Not even to, make extra money for, to do other fun stuff or save up for something. But this is oftentimes just to barely, get by. So I see this happening more often, and I see more people, especially, young people that are around my age, that they're working these 40-hour work week jobs, and many of them are like, if they do manage to move out of their parents' place, then they're living with multiple roommates. And so before, it was like, you can go to work 40 hours a week, and then the man can work 40 hours, and that would be enough to pretty much support an entire family. But unfortunately, with cost of living just constantly rising, and with constant hustle culture that's been created, it's a lot harder to attain that unless if you happen to land like a really high paying job. So I truly believe that one of the best things that you can do right now, aside from making more money, is going to be simplifying your life as much as possible. And so what I mean by that is, you of course want to consider cutting back on expenses. What are you willing to live without? And are you willing to, cut back on expenses to the point where you can maybe work less at your job, right? So this might not be like an unpopular or, sexy thing to say or suggest, but one of the things that I keep seeing right now is I am seeing a trend of people like either living in RVs, living in their car, or like living off grid, and then their bills aren't like super high up compared to if they just try to get their own place. And that is, I think, one of the benefits of when you're in that position, then you can work less at your 9-to-5 job because you don't really need as much money coming in, right? So the question that I want to ask here is, what are you willing to, get rid of that would allow you to work less at your job? So maybe you are currently living alone. Right now I live by myself. I guess you could say was lucky enough to get a good deal on this place. I only pay like $11.75 per month. And for me, I'm able to get by pretty well, with bills and all that. However, recently I have looked at, the cost of like apartments right now. And, if I had to start over right now, like if I was still living with parents and I had to move out and I really wanted to be by myself, which I really do enjoy. I don't like living with other people that much. I like peace and quiet. I like being able to focus on work. For me, if I really wanted to, kind of be independent as much as I possibly could, I probably, and this might sound crazy, but I would probably go the route of like getting my own car, and then I would just try to sort of get by just living by myself in my own vehicle. I would probably do something like that just because of the fact that it would be easier for me to focus on things like, posting content consistently without having to worry about, being around other people. I would have a lot more peace of mind. And if I don't have like the massive expense of rent every single month, then I wouldn't have to be working so much at a regular job. So maybe instead of working, 5 days a week and constantly stressing myself doing all this manual labor, I can maybe work, 3 or 4 days a week and just try and like live by myself doing that. So that is kind of the thing that I wanted to suggest here. And then also on top of that is the concept of just minimalism in general. So a lot of people, especially in the US, they are focused on just consuming a lot of things, right? They're constantly collecting things, buying all this physical stuff that you have in your house. And for me personally, when I, lived with my mom, I had all this, stuff that I would collect. I'd, have like this like huge video game collection. I'd have like all these books. I'd have, just a whole bunch of stuff that I would collect over the years. And so the more stuff that I had sitting in my room, oftentimes I felt more stressed because it's like, I kind of felt like I had all this clutter lying around. And for me, I have personally just felt a lot better just owning less stuff and just kind of being more of a minimalist, right? And so the other reason for that is because I am also looking into the concept of traveling more, and I'm looking into like the whole digital nomad lifestyle. So my other thing is the less stuff that I own, then the easier it's going to be for me to move around, and it's less stuff that I have to carry with me. And that's kind of, I'm thinking like very much in advance. Like even though I'm probably not going to, start traveling for like the next maybe like year or two, but that is just something that I guess I'm preparing myself for, kind of in the long run. So that's pretty much what I want to discuss in this video. And ultimately the best thing you could do is consume as less as you can, but also try to make as much money that you possibly can. So that being said, I also want to mention, if you wanted to see how I am earning an income online and where you can work wherever and whenever you want, then you could check out the training that I have linked down below, and you could learn more about what it is that I do. So that being said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up and take care. All the best.